TWM Podcast. Hello and welcome to TWM Talks. I am Matty Deller, and today I'm speaking to a real up-and-comer on the American independent scene. She wowed me literally I want to say the time of recording, it would be this weekend, but when this comes out, it'll be the past weekend at CZW's Night of Infamy. So I thought, who better to get to know as we head towards Cage of Death? My friends, please welcome my guest, Kasey Catal. Hello there.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. What an entrance. Thank you.
Yeah, this was kind of a bit of a random kind of 48 hours. I literally finished watching Night of Infamy. I wanted to get back since CZW started being on Fight TV. And as everyone knows who listens to this, we're kind of quite good friends with Fight. So I managed to check out Night of Infamy and watched your match with Jimmy Lloyd and was blown away and like put you over on Twitter, which is nothing for me. I'm no one, but I decided to just say like how much I really enjoyed your work, and then we had like chatting back and forth, and then went, you know what, fuck it, let's talk about wrestling for a bit and get everyone to know you a little bit more and talk about kind of all the stuff that you've been up to, you're doing, and what you're going to do into the future. So we might as well start off in the beginning. Like, what was the first thing that got you into wrestling?
So I've told this story so many times, and I say that all the time as well. It's not a glamorous thing. I actually got into wrestling. I didn't grow up watching it. I get in trouble for saying that all the time, but it's true. I didn't grow up as a kid really watching wrestling. I know who like Hulk Hogan was, you know, I knew who John Cena was, but I never really watched it. I was more into like acting. I wanted to be an actress growing up and played a lot of sports too, but like acting in Broadway and dance. I danced for 15 years, so that was like my thing. So I was like, I'm going to grow up and be on Broadway and then be in movies. And then randomly one weekend, my friend asked me, a mutual friend was performing and wrestling, and asked if I wanted to go join, and I was like, yeah, why not? Like, it's more fun than on a Saturday night than to go to a bar. Like, let's just go to a wrestling show. Like, let's make this fun. And instantly fell in love with wrestling. And it was actually, and this is so funny, it's like almost full circle now. It was NYWC, and it was Psycho Circus. So that was like their big hardcore show and their biggest show of the year. And I was like, this is crazy. How do I do this? So I ended up dating one of the wrestlers, shocker. And he wasn't too thrilled about me trying to be a wrestler just because of, you know, the politics and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. So we dated for 2 years. And then the day after we broke up, I signed up for wrestling.
Love that. Just kind of like, peace, I'm going to go train now.
Finally. Now I get to go try this.
That's really cool. Because actually, it's funny that there's a lot of, when I've spoken to kind of, but even fans and stuff, there's a whole bunch of actually a lot of female fans that didn't get into kind of it being, as a kid, it was kind of like they ended up going along with friends and seeing it, and seeing it person, particularly in the UK as well. So kind of you even went into kind of the point of what made you decide to become a wrestler. It was, I want to do this. I can't do it now because of boyfriend. Oh, I'm no longer with boyfriend. Now I wrestle. So and
it was like a long 2 years. I mean, and he was a wrestler, but he was also like a super fan of the WWE. So I mean, we watched religiously. We went to like every pay-per-view that came to town. Went to every live event. We went to WrestleMania for the 2 years we were together. So it was like I was so infatuated by this. Like, I was obsessed, and I feel like, you know, his love for it and his passion kind of rubbed off on me, and I was like, I gotta try this, like I gotta do this, and you know, I've been doing it ever since. That's
really cool. Then you went on to train at the kind of world-renowned Creator Pro, which is, if I get this wrong, I'm gonna get so much shit on Twitter. It's Pat Buck and Kurt Hawkins. That was the kind of where it started, I think. Yes. And then they've had, was it MJF's from Creator Pro? Yes. I know there's a few others, obviously yourself as well. So how was training there? 'Cause obviously those are two quite big names to the point now where they both are working back again and now working as a kind of a trainer producer in the WWE. So it's a pretty damn good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I remember being like, okay, well, I know I can't train at NYWC, so let me do some research and see what else is closest to me. So I saw Creator Pro. I knew some mutual friends before that because I had been around wrestling. So I knew a lot of people in wrestling. So I was like, where do I go? What do I do? And I remember talking to Johnny Silver, who's on the Independent and has been all over AEW and all these other giant promotions. And he was like, oh, come to a Creative Pro show. And I was like, okay. So I literally went that weekend to Creative Pro. I saw him in a bar. It was just so random. And then I went to the Creative Pro show. I was like, oh, I got to start training here. The show was so much fun. I brought my friend with me who was not a wrestling fan. And she was like, this is so fun. Like, let's do this all the time. So I was like, yeah, I got to be here. So the next week I signed up online for a full month. I was like, I'm going to do this for the full month. I'm going to commit whether I like it or not. Got there my first day, took my first bump, and I literally was in tears. And I was like, this is what I want to do, which was insane.
I completely mention this. And I think every time I've done one of these and chatted to someone talking about their training, I go back to my pathetic attempt at trying to train to be a wrestler, which was I decided to, at uni, I did a radio course and I decided, I'm going to do a documentary as part of my course. I'm going to do it on how to be a wrestler. I took bumps. I realized I wasn't ready for it, particularly in the moment where I learned how to take a clothesline and proceeded to, and if you've heard my interviews before, you know this story. I tell it every time I do what TWM talks. I took a clothesline, proceeded to take the bump, and proceeded to punch myself in the face on the way down, giving myself a black eye. So that kind of proved that I was never ever going to be a wrestler. I've stick to talking about it and going and stuff. Other little sidebars and stuff. Love that you brought up John Silver. Perfect excuse. I probably should mention it on the Indie Wrestling Show last week when we talked about CW. Bloody love John Silver.
Incredible. He is so good. Like, and I've known him now for quite a while. So like every time I get to see him, he's like the most fun person to be around ever. And he's just so talented and like just one of those people that like everyone needs to watch out for because he's been doing this for a long time and he's really good and people know he's really good, but he needs that spotlight, man. He's really
I popped so much when him and Alex Reynolds were on AEW. Like I lost my, I was like, oh, Beaver Boys, because funnily enough, again, massive sidebar. Me and Kasey have realised, I'm saying this now, that we're kind of on the same wavelength just in general. So there's gonna be a lot of sidebars and just us talking about stuff. I saw Team Tremendous at Progress in London.
Dan Barry's my favorite person on the planet.
Yes, more Dan Barry people. We've talked about Dan Barry on here before. And I ended up talking to him about my favourite thing from CZW. We'll talk about CZW in a little bit. Is there's this like run of about 13 YouTube videos of Team Tremendous trying to arrest the Beaver Boys. And it's some of the fun. If you've not seen it, it's on YouTube. It's free. It's some of the funniest, stupidest stuff ever.
Literally, like, Dan was one of the first people I met in wrestling before I even started. He is one of my very good friends. I am so obsessed with Dan Barry, like, and he knows it. I already tell him, I was like, if I wasn't married to Brandon, like, I'd be married to you.
Brilliant.
Like, he's so fucking good. I remember the first time I saw him, I said, you're the best wrestler I've ever seen. And he was like, he's like all like self-degrading. And he's like, no, I'm terrible. But like, he is so good. He's trained me on countless times. I don't know if he wants to take credit for that or not, but he's trained me on countless times. He is just an incredible person, wrestler. Like I couldn't say more great things about Dan Barry.
Yeah, we love Dan Barry, love Team Tremendous. I'm so happy to see him. It's interesting to note because you said about it's kind of similar how that New York area is coming very similar to London in regards of like schools and kind of the independent scene, because there wasn't a lot there, and then ever since kind of there's been this boom in independence, London and New York have kind of almost mirrored each other. How this like now I check all the time, and you've got Creator Pro, you've got, like you said, NYWC, you've got HOG, you've got all these little indies that have popped up in this kind of metropolitan area, very similar to London, where there was like the infamous line from the guys from Progress where someone told them you can never run an independent wrestling show in London, and now there's about 20 of them. So it's so weird that it merges. And then 4 months into your career, casual as you like, you end up appearing on WWE TV on Raw under the under the moniker of Stacey Cullen against Asuka, which is like damn impressive for like 4 months into the business.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I thought I had been wrestling a lot longer, and then me and my husband Brandon were actually like looking through like our matches the other day, and he's like, "That was your like third singles match ever."
That's mad.
It's crazy.
Because that's like very similar to, and this is wrestling nerddom coming out for me, because I think like Matt or Jeff, like their third match in a proper ring was like a enhancement match on Raw. Yeah. So that's weird. That's a weird little parallel there you have, kind of similar to the Hardys with that one.
It's really wild. Like, and I've listened to some podcasts, and I think Tessa Blanchard, I think her first match was on TV. It's just like, it's so crazy that like things happen so fast. Like you're in that right spot at that right moment, and you get that chance. And I could not believe, like looking back, I mean, it feels like yesterday, kind of was. And, I haven't been doing this for that long, but that was like one of the coolest moments of my life. And everyone says like, how do you feel about it? And I still say like, it hasn't sunk in yet. It still hasn't. It's not real to me.
I'm just imagining like your third match in is like, oh, but Raw, who am I facing? Asuka. Oh, the one that kicks really, really hard. Okay, cool.
Yes, and like funny story, I actually broke my nose really bad about a month before that. I had surgery 2 or 3 weeks before that match.
Oh, so you were like, I need to duck as much as possible.
I remember my mom freaking out. I remember like me taking the tape off my nose, trying to cover the scars from my stitches. I had to lie to every doctor. This is so bad. I had to lie to every doctor for every physical that I had to get. I was like, and people like were calling it out. Like I remember I had to get my physical, and the doctor was like, so like, what's with your nose? I was like, oh, I just bumped it. And my mom's looking at me like, you motherfucker.
The thing is though, it's fine. To get yourself in trouble. That wasn't Kasey Catal. That was Stacey Cullen. Different person.
Exactly.
Different person.
I had no idea I was going to be wrestling on TV. I was going there for extra work. So like, I was like, oh, my nose will be fine. Like, what are the chances I'm going to actually ask to get to do something? Like there's no way. And that happened. It was just insane.
I love that. I love the fact he's like, you had all this nose problems. And probably the one person you don't want to face is the person that kicks and back fists to the face a lot. And you end up like, oh, great. Cool.
Yes, that's literally going to kick my face in. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
As we spoke about CZW earlier, you've kind of really made your name for yourself in Combat Zone Wrestling. And I did mention, I was going to mention that I thought the Night of Infinity was the first time I've ever seen you, because I saw the card. I'm kind of been aware of Jimmy Lloyd through CZW and GCW, because I'm a bit of a deathmatch fan and stuff. So I kind of aware. And then I realized that wasn't the first time I'd seen you wrestle. I kind of then, as I was going through and checking stuff out, last year's Cage of Death, you were in this 8-person match with Maria Manic, with Connor Claxton, as you mentioned, your other half, Brandon Kirk, and many others. And I remember that just being absolute batshit insanity. That 8-person kind of like faction warfare thing. So like, how important has CZW been in your development as a wrestler?
Wow. I mean, it's been, I've recently, well, not recently, like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I moved to New Jersey when me and Brandon had gotten engaged. So leaving New York and my school and the people and coming here was a bit scary to me, just because I had kind of my comfort zone. And in wrestling, you're always put out of your comfort zone. So if you have that one like thing that's stable and that makes you feel okay, like, it's important. So when I came to New Jersey, I was like, all right, where am I going to go? And I mean, I love CZW. When I first started watching wrestling, I was super into ECW. I was super into CZW. I remember watching all of these things and being like, that is so badass. That is so cool. Like, I want to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I wasn't really like, I'm going to do death matches, but I was just so entertained by really all the storylines and the, the extreme kind of take that they had on wrestling and their way of telling stories. And I was like, this is insane. So Brandon was actually starting around with CZW, and I tagged along a few times and wasn't really, I don't know. It was a little weird for me at first. I felt like kind of an outsider. And now it's family. And I know that we get kind of a bad rep, lately, from the company, but these are the people that have supported me, have given me these opportunities to be able to do things to make my name known. I made history. I was the first woman ever to be in the Squared Circle of Sacrifice match. So they're giving me the chance to do what I love on a big scale. And I love them. Like, I couldn't be more thankful to be there.
I will say, because it's I think Combat Zone Wrestling will always have that little stigma around it, because everyone just assumes it's the stuff from like the beginning of CZW, where exactly, I've mentioned this on podcasts before, that it's a completely different beast than it was like 15, 20 years ago, where it was like the deathmatch and the Vine stuff. They still have that, but I would almost argue it's a completely separate brand to what the actual kind of promotion is. And yeah, like, and I've said this before, and I will sing this from the rooftops all the time. CZW is criminally underrated as a promotion that brings through talent. Like, if you look at the people that have been through there, like John Moxley, Sami Callihan, Adam Cole, Drew Gulak, Rich Swann,
Daniel Brown, so many huge names, like,
come through that Philly era and made their way. Sanjay, like, literally, we could sit here and play a game of let's list all the people that made their name in CZW and is now a big massive, or was a big massive deal. And I would also say you've got people out. I did put in my tweet, I put you in there, and I put Jordan Oliver in there, and they're kind of now build again. It's one of those things of like, they kind of had a lot of their roster moved away to AEW or GCW or something like that. So, or say it quietly, don't want to annoy people, because I know this.
We annoy people. That's like our gimmick. So just who cares?
So like, they moved away, but in the end, what you've done is like you've ended up building up this. There's now a very youth oriented roster in CZW, and it's fun to watch because it's people that you can look at now, much like you did with the likes of with Adam Cole. I remember watching, actually, funny story, I remember watching David Starr's first ever match in CZW, and then seeing where he is now, like basically the guy I see every other week at a Brit Red show. And then like other people like Cole and stuff, and then obviously yourself included, and now seeing the people being like, right, this is the person I'm going to keep an eye on over the next like 3-4 years, because I imagine them, I'm hoping that they're going to be up there in the upper echelons as well. You mentioned Squared Circle of Sacrifice. Obviously these kind of matches are not for everyone. I'm a huge deathmatch fan. I find this, I very rarely get squeamish. I did jump about 5 feet in the air when you went into the exploding barbed wire, because I did not see it coming. Normally I'm like, oh, it's there, and it happened, and generally I was sitting there. It was a lazy Sunday. I was not gonna lie, I was kind of nursing a 2-day hangover at this point, watching this show, and then a massive explosion, and I legitimately jump up and go, fuck, what just happened? I had to rewind because I wasn't sure what just happened.
Same.
Oh no, yeah. Sorry. I imagine it was a lot worse for you going into the explosion. But yeah, you were this unreal battle between you and Jimmy Lloyd, an absolute spectacle. And you said the first ever intergender Squared Circle of Sacrifice. Like, is like the, because you said like the deathmatch stuff wasn't something you really kind of went into, but one of the first things you saw. Is like the ultraviolent deathmatch wrestling something you see yourself working more and more in going forward?
It's a toss-up with me. I remember I said last year for Cage and all that stuff leading up to Cage with the hardcore stuff I was doing, there had to be like the right moment and the right time to do it for me at that point. Being in the ECW arena, being with my husband, being at the biggest show of the year. So certain things lined up, and I was like, you know what, I'm willing to do this. Like, because if you know me, I am the most anxious human being on the planet. So even if I'm wrestling in front of 3 people or 300 people, doesn't matter. I will be an anxious wreck, like terrified. So leading up to Cage, I was terrified for months. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I barely did anything. I did a couple spots, but I was like, I got to do it though, because it's for Brandon, it's for CZW, it's for Cage. It's the right time. And then kind of the same thing this year happened with Night of Infamy. It was like, we were telling such a big story leading up to Cage in 2 weeks. You know, Brandon and Jimmy's first match at CZW was a squared circle, and it started this whole thing, and we thought there would be no better story to tell than now his wife is going to come in here and kind of recreate what they had started and try to finish it. So I think if it makes sense for me to do, I will do it. I'll probably be an anxious wreck again if I have to do anything that crazy. But I really wanted to prove myself and to gain respect from other people in that match. And there was two really main things I wanted to do, was to tell a really good story for Jimmy and for Brandon, because this is a huge deal for them. And, you know, to be main eventing at Cage of Death is a huge deal. And Brandon, you know, grew up watching CZW. Like, this was a dream of his since he's been a kid. So I really wanted it to be great for him. And then I also wanted everyone to have a crazy time. Sorry, my dog.
That's fine. Usually when we're doing podcasts, it's my dog that ends up making loads of noise. But so it's fine that it's someone else. Anyway, it's fine. And also, I'm not going to edit out. Everyone knows that. They know what TWM's about. We keep it completely real. Yeah. Also, what I loved about this whole thing, and I kind of caught myself up on the whole story with Brandon and Jimmy and leading up to this match between you and Jimmy Lloyd. What I loved about it, and I always feel like it sounds so weird and everyone feels a bit of an ulterior motive when you have like a kind of a guy being like, I really like women's wrestling. But I do, because I've always said before, and it sounds weird, but kind of bear with me, that it's wrestling, but it's like wrestling that we like, but it's more aesthetically pleasing. Like the outfits, the personalities are always more kind of grandiose on the women's side of things. And what I loved about this is that obviously with this whole narrative between Jimmy and Brandon, that this was kind of almost the final boss to face, or like the second to final boss before the two protagonists and antagonists face off. And there'd be so many promotions where it would be like, oh, the dastardly heel is putting his wife in front of the good guy to get forward. But no, this was like, no, you have to fucking go through me to get to him. Right. And that was so cool. And I loved the whole deal about that of basically almost the roles being reversed, of being like, if you want my husband, you're going through Mrs. Kirk first, motherfucker. Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because we really, even with the vignettes and stuff we filmed, like, we really tried to portray that, like, you know, things, and me being like, no, like, we're gonna fucking do this, and like, I got your back. I'm gonna beat him. He's gonna get through me. So I love that you said that. Yeah,
it's great. And also, I loved the whole presentation of the entrance with the barbed wire crown and the Billie Eilish song. It was
but the best part of that, let me tell you, was me not realizing how to get into the fucking ring. I had wished somebody had told me, Kasey, like, the dumbest thing, go under the barbed wire, you're gonna get stuck. And I had to laugh, because I was like,
I didn't want to say anything, but I did notice it, because you get up and you can see, and
I'm like, all badass with the freaking crown, and then I get freaking stuck in the bar. I was like, oh my, like, if this is how this is gonna start, like, holy shit.
Because what I loved, and again, it's like, what I loved about it is it was even before that. You got up, you got onto the ring apron, you knew you had to get in the ring, and you could see in your eyes, you've gone, I can't go back down the stairs to roll in. So you're like, I'm gonna have to start this out, and then you could just see in your eyes, I can imagine you're trying to like style it out, as all wrestlers should. Funnily enough, someone mentioned this, Shayna Baszler did this on War Games this the weekend, when she tripped over the cage and styled it out as she came out. But literally, you can see in your eye, you're just going, fuck. Yes,
I was like, shit, I cannot go back down, and I'm gonna get a chant, and everyone's gonna fuck with me. Oh god. I was like, whatever. I was like, I'm too far past, and I just had to laugh about it. But it's like, it's so funny, because those are the silly things that, you know, I've been preparing for this match for weeks, and I didn't think about getting in the ring. So
yeah, it's it's hard. Like, even without barbed wire, I generally once got into a ring once, and no one told me you have to push the middle rope down to get back out again. Immediately smacked myself in the balls on the middle rope as I got out. It's difficult.
It's like that gif of that guy stepping over the top rope and then just falling in.
Yes.
It's just like the best.
But the thing is, though, it's fine. You're like, tripped over that. You can all laugh now. I'm going to blow up in the next 20 minutes, so you won't be laughing at the end of this.
Right? I was like, all right, this is okay. And then I was like, maybe people think that, like, oh, this is going to be so bad. So I kind of like brought them down to bring them back up. So it ended up working.
This podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by SquaredCircleBox.com, the only place for your monthly wrestling box needs. With things from superstars from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, and loads more, it is the only place that matters if you want to get the best wrestling swag for a low price. That low price is just £25, people. What a bargain! And you can get snapbacks, t-shirts, magazines, DVDs, trinkets, whatchamacallit, doodads, you name it, they have it each and every month. And just because you listen to TWM, you sexy people, you get 10% off your first order. All you got to do is use the code TWM News in the checkout. Just use the code TWM News in the checkout for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com.
I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring? We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code podcast. That's podcast. Once again, podcast in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
I was also going to bring up, like, in the likes of, you said you had this match with Jimmy Lloyd, but then you've got the likes of Tessa Blanchard that's pretty much pushing this whole movement of pretty much turning a whole promotion into gender. Same with Jordan Grace as well. And there's many others. Maria Manic in particular, another one, and obviously yourself. Like, would you like to kind of set the table for more intergender deathmatch stuff? Like you said, you did say that you're anxious right with stuff like this, but like, so I imagine if like the moment was right, would we see a Kasey Catal inside a Cage of Death? Even because we nearly got it this year, we nearly got a female in Tournament of Death with Martina, but then she obviously couldn't be a part of it. Could we see maybe you trying for Tournament of Death? Is that something you would generally like? Is it like a goal, or is it something like, well, if it happens, and I would do it?
Yeah, I almost did TOD this year. I was like, can I do it? And it just like, I was like, whatever. At that point, like, Martina couldn't do it, and like everything was already just like set. And I was like, all right, like, I don't have to do it. But yeah, things like that I would totally do. I mean, I had a really fun time. It was like very terrifying, but because you don't know what to expect. Like, I've taken some shitty bumps like that, but nothing, on that kind of scale. So I just didn't know what to expect. Now that I know what to expect, I feel like I'd be a bit more comfortable. And if it was a big show and it made sense, like, hell yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to see it. Let's start the hashtag now. Kasey Catal for TOD. Let's get it involved. Kind of as we come towards the end, we're going to end up going on a massive ramble at the end of this. I know we will, because I know what we're going to talk about in a bit. I was kind of just do these like 3 and 3. I made this up on the top of my head yesterday. I've kind of just like 3 questions asking you kind of your 3 points on each one. So kind of starting off, like, who are like your 3 inspirations in wrestling?
Ooh, good question. I guess it goes like kind of hand in hand with my favorite wrestlers. For one, Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler. I just, beyond his athleticism and craziness, like everyone knows, his character work, his ability to literally reinvent himself over and over and over again for so long is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. I will be naming my firstborn after him.
Nice.
So, like, absolutely incredible, like, in my eyes. Another, I would say, I say this all the time too. So there's 2 women that particularly stand out for me. One is Molly Holly. Just not the typical female, like, show stunner coming out to the ring. I never really connected with it. I was like, I'm not a model. I don't look like these girls. Like, how am I going to fit in with this? And she was one of those women who was beautiful, but just so incredibly talented. Just a freak athlete. The way she portrayed herself inside and outside of the ring is just incredible to me. So somebody I definitely look up to. And also Natalya. And a lot of people are like, I hate Natalya. She trained with the boys. She trained harder than anybody I know. Like, she went through such hell. She has earned her spot time and time again. And I think she needs her damn push, because I'm sick of seeing her on the sidelines. But definitely, again, like, not your typical, model going out there and just like being, anticlimactic with her matches. Like, absolutely incredible wrestler and amazing human being. So
we've said, as we've been chatting before we did this, that me and you kind of, again, have the same wavelength. And I do think we may have just become best friends, because my favorite wrestler is Chris Jericho as well. So this is very Natalya. If you listen to the pod, if people listen to the podcast, you know my feelings on Natalya. But I appreciate that she trained with she's a tremendous wrestler. I've just never been a massive fan, but each of their own. I like Molly Holly as well. Your 3 favorite opponents so far?
Okay, I would have to say Jimmy for sure. Been dying to get in the ring with him, so that was so cool. Such a freak, like just a freak, like in talent. Like, that kid can go, he can wrestle, like, holy crap. So he was definitely, that probably was one of my favorite matches ever. Other opponents that I loved wrestling, I actually, over at Empower Wrestling, I had a really amazing time wrestling Nicole Savoy. Insane wrestler, just insane talent. Learned a lot from her. And I think now more of my favorite matches are not necessarily the ones that go over really well, but the ones where I learn a lot, because it makes me better. And, I can really grow from the experiences. So that was really awesome. And then probably Ty Valkyrie's up there. I wrestled her at Northeast Wrestling and admired her for so long. And that was like freaking huge. And I remember John Morrison watching the match and being like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch your match. And I was like, all right, no pressure. Like, holy shit. Like, I'm already nervous enough, and it was like 400 degrees outside and it was in a stadium. I'm like, all right, cool, have fun. So yeah, that was really cool too. That's
awesome. I love that just anything when someone goes, oh yeah, by the way, former WWE Impact Lucha Underground, I'm gonna watch your match. It's like, oh, thanks, cheers, appreciate that.
Wow. And I'm having heart palpitations, and then I was like, holy shit, just don't say anything next time.
I'm imagining you're making the same face as you did when you got stuck on the barbed wire. He's like, fuck.
Literally, that should be gift.
Just that. I will do it.
Do it.
And then kind of, before we get on to other things, like your top 3 goals in wrestling going forward.
Japan is definitely up there. That's like my number one. Everyone's like always like, do you want to get signed? Do you do this? And I'm like, you know what? Like, thinking about it, like, that would be great. But I have so much to learn. I've only been wrestling like actively for a little over 2 years. So I just have so much to learn. I want to travel. I want to go everywhere. I want to just do every type of wrestling, learn from every person I can. So I am ready when I get that that big opportunity to be really able to showcase myself. Like, I want that to be amazing, and I want to be completely prepared. So, Japan, number 1. I guess just consistently wrestle, like I have been, but even more, being able to do this more often, being able to learn more, being able to experience new things, men, women, like, just really be able to soak up everything I possibly can. And 3, I don't know. I feel like those are like kind of the top 2. I set myself like little goals. I don't really have like these giant grand scheme, like where I end up is where I'm meant to be. So as long as I can keep just doing what I'm doing and, portray myself, and for people to know that, she's a decent wrestler and she's a great person. Like, that's what I want to be known for. I don't want like this mediocre crap to keep coming up, like, oh yeah, like she's good, but whatever. Like, I don't want to be just good. I want people to really enjoy when I wrestle. So that's, I guess, another goal.
That's like a really awesome outlook to have, kind of that whole always be happy but never be satisfied. You want to be the best you possibly can be. Selfishly, I want to add one, just like, just come to the UK, mate. Yes. I want all the wrestlers to come to the UK.
There might be some plans next year. So,
sick. Don't worry. if you do, you'll have to come with if you're in the area with us, you'll have to come hang out with the TWM squad for a bit. We'll take if you and Brandon, we'll take you for like a meal or something. Take you to Nando's, the finest of
I've been to Nando's. You know, my family actually is from London, and I've been like quite a few times, like 4 or 5 times. So I know a little bit about what you guys got going on over there.
Oh, nice. We'll have to try and find some things, maybe the road less traveled.
Yes.
Right, we're gonna get off wrestling for a little bit because we both have a mutual love of two particular things: 90s music and the Disney film Frozen. So, have you seen Frozen 2 yet?
I haven't. Have you?
I did. Me and my other half. When I said this to those people, they're like, "Oh, so you took your girlfriend?" I went, "No, it was like I made her go. Like, I had to go see this film the day after it came out."
Yes.
It's brilliant. No spoilers. It does have. I did say my hot spice take from it has my favorite song out of the 2 films in it. Like my all-time favorite Frozen song is in the second film now.
Really?
Yeah, it's real. There's an 80s. Oh, that is it. It's an 80s power ballad, and it's amazing. So
really,
I cannot recommend it enough. When you see it, please let me know so we can discuss it.
I think we're gonna go this week, and it's sad because usually me and Brandon will go the night before it opens because they say it opens one day, but then it really opens the night before.
Yeah.
So we have done that for like the last 5 or 6 Disney movies that had come out, except for Toy Story, because Brandon was like, I'm going to go watch a wrestling show. And I was like, but Brandon, it's Toy Story. He's like, we're going to go tomorrow. I was like, we need to go the day of. But life has been so crazy, we haven't been able to really go.
You're the small matter of kind of, like barbed wire match coming up. So I can understand.
So I was like, and I work in retail, like as my shoe job. So I'm like for the holidays and, Black Friday, I've literally had no life. I eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling and work. So yeah, but I'm definitely planning on
that
going.
was the bonus of my shoot job that I work in a school. So when Toy Story 4 came out, we went as the summer trip and I got to go for free. So
wow. Damn it.
And I demanded all the children I had to look after. They did not move. They did not say a word. I wanted to watch the entire film.
Keep your mouth shut and watch it.
If you need to go to the toilet, you are running. You are running to the toilet and I'm running back. I'm not missing this film. Something I always want to bring this up. I've had this big debate on Twitter with people before because I maintain this. Prince Hans in the first Frozen, is that the biggest heel turn in Disney history? Because I think it is.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything that's more than that, I guess.
I've never watched a Disney film and funny enough, I watched it for the first time. So I'd never seen it. It'd been out for ages, and and again, they put it on in class with these kids, and I sat there and generally, I've never come close to shouting out "you motherfucker" in front of children. That thing generally angers me when he turns. It's like it's weird. It's a really well booked film, Frozen. Because
it's funny that you said that you hadn't seen it for a while when it came out. Because my sister actually, side note, my sister texted me the other day in a group chat with my other sister, and she was like, I never saw Frozen, so I Googled the plot, and it's very complicated. And I was like, no, it's not. What, you haven't seen Frozen? Who are you? And she was like, I'm 35 years old, Kasey. I was like, yeah, and you've been watching Phineas and Ferb for the last 6 years. So what's the difference?
Yeah, that is not an excuse.
She's like, true. I was like, see, come on.
Yeah, it's just. It's not an excuse. You have to see that film. It's amazing film. Actually, bring this up because this is another massive bone of contention that everyone has. What's your order of the Toy Story films?
Ooh,
best to worst.
That's hard. That's so hard. There's so many different ways to judge it though, because I think that the last one was the most funny by far.
Really.
Hysterical. I don't know if it was just because there was a lot of adult humor in it. I don't know, but I laughed my ass off. Besides the teenager sitting next to me who was like, "Is that Andy?" Shut up. Clearly you don't know anything about Toy Story. You're talking through the whole damn movie. Shut the fuck up. I was getting so mad, grilling her because you would not shut the fuck up. But okay, so that's so hard.
Should I tell you mine to help?
Yeah, tell me yours.
Mine is I think it's 3 is my favorite.
Really?
Because true story, me and 12 of my friends, all grown men in their mid-20s, left that film crying at the end of that film. We went to see it in 3D and we all were hiding the fact we were crying underneath the 3D glasses.
Oh my God, I love that.
Then I want to say 1 second, then 2, and then 4's my least favorite, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's like the NXT, like an NXT takeover. COD is my least favorite does not mean it's a bad. It's just probably my least favorite one out of the 4, but it's still good. And they tied up a lot of loose ends in Toy Story 4 as well. And I really liked the way they changed Bo Peep. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was really, really clever.
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, she's a little weird in the parks. Like, if you see her, like, in her, like, new outfit in the park, she looks a little scary. But I thought she was a freaking badass. I was like, all right, girl. That's cool. Have you got
your Toy Story ranking, or you're not sure?
Okay, so I'd probably go... I think the first one's my favorite, just because I'm nostalgic as hell. I would say 1, then probably 3, then 4, then 2, I think.
It's weird. Loads of people have 2 at the bottom, and I'm always like, I really like Toy Story 2. It was...
Yeah, like you said, like, they're all amazing. Like, I binge watch all of these all the time, so yeah. I love them, but, That's the one with Zurg, and, like, and that's, it's the one with the toy collector, isn't it? Is the second one. Yep, that's Toy Barn. Yep.
Yeah, toy collector, where is, Zurg finds out, they do, like, the whole I am your father thing, and the bit where they're playing catch generally kills me every time. Have you got Disney Plus yet?
Of course.
Good. I've got to wait till fucking March. It's doing my head in.
You guys don't get it, huh?
Yeah, no, this is the WWE Network all over again.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, it is the best thing. You will have no life. Like, I already have no life, but, like, I come home and I'm like, should I go to the gym? No, I'm just going to watch Disney. Like,
I'm going to, me and my girlfriend, I said we're going to split it because she wants it for all the Disney films. I want Disney films as well, but I want it also for the first 20 seasons of The Simpsons.
Yeah,
because that's all I watch really anyway. But if I can have it on demand, then I won't need any other TV channel for anything other than sports.
It's so good, and like the documentaries are amazing because it gives you like new insight to stuff, and then like there's a bunch of like National Geographic shit on it. It's just really cool.
And then also the Lizzie McGuire reboot that I really want to see.
Yes.
Yeah. Other thing we said, 90s bands. We both love 90s music. I was going through your Twitter for research and was seeing you basically losing your mind over hearing TLC at work and, and all that stuff.
TLC is No Scrubs is kind of like, I go with like the KLC TLC gimmick. No Scrubs I come out to.
Nice.
So fun. And then one of my merch shirts, it's a play. You remember Ronda Rousey did that cover and it was like don't be a DMB and it was like her sitting on the bed. My shirt is me exactly the same thing. It says don't be a scrub. So
nice. Right, that.
Yeah. I'm so obsessed. Like I'm living my childhood. I love the 90s. I love everything about it. Like if I could go back, I would. I still dress like I'm, in that decade. It's amazing.
Oh no, so do I. Don't worry. It's fine. Like I said, sometimes I'm interviewing, like when I'm interviewing wrestlers and stuff, and I'm like, you doing stuff? How old are you? And they're like, oh, I'm 23, and I'm like, I hate you because I'm like 30, but we're like the same age, so
everyone thinks I'm 16. I'm almost 30, so everyone, yes, I'm an adult.
So I said, like, this is the thing, like my new Kasey Catal, my new best friend, because we literally have the same likes in everything. So apart from TLC, like, what's your top three 90s bands that you listen to the most?
Oh, NSYNC for sure. I love Backstreet Boys, but NSYNC's my number one. My first dance at my wedding was to NSYNC.
What song? What was it?
Top three. Damn, that's hard. Probably TLC's a second.
Yeah.
And then Ooh, it's so good. I don't know if I want to go like grunge or if I want to stick with like pop. There's just so maybe Ja Rule.
Oh, amazing! I've got a real love for any Ja Rule video from like the 90s and 90s. Genuinely, I can't remember what video it is. If I remember, I will send you because it still makes me laugh every time. There's a video he does where I think it's an Ashani video. Actually, no, of course it's a Ashani video. It's Ja Rule, and they cut to this thing where it's just a hot tub with two women in it, and he starts his rap by coming out of the hot tub from under the water, and then starts
so 90s and so incredible.
It's brilliant. Like for me, Bewitched are my favorite. They might be-
Bewitched! I saw them in concert.
I hate you. Oh my god.
Oh wait, okay, wait. I have to rewind here and say my top. Like you said, bands. Can I tell you my like obsession throughout probably 20 years of my life?
Yeah.
Was Aaron Carter.
Oh yes, that's a very American thing. Like, they've never really caught on over here, Aaron Carter, but I know that's a very, very American like
Aaron
teenage
Carter,
obsession.
Yeah. Aaron Carter was my god. When I tell you, I had like paintings of him made. I had like a shrine. I was disgusting. And then in my adult life, I met him a few times, belligerent out of my mind because I was so nervous. And let's just say I made a very crazy impression on all of them because of my love. And then he blocked me on Twitter, but now we're cool.
That's brilliant. That is going to be the main line on your thing. Like, CZW wrestler, up and coming American independent star, and blocked by Aaron Carter on Twitter.
We're good now, though. No, don't write that because then he'll vanity search himself and then he'll come after me because he's lost his mind. So
like I said, Bewitched. Like my another music spicy taste I have is that if Bewitched were around longer, I reckon they would have been as big as the Spice Girls, because I love Bewitched. They're so good. It's not even just C'est La Vie. It's Blame It on the Weatherman. My favourite song is Jesse Hold On. It's such a tune. And then probably Spice. I do love Spice Girls. Everyone I know went to see them on their reunion told me only one who didn't go.
It was pulled out in like a minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had like 14 different shows in London, and some of my friends ended up going to like 3 different shows. I'm like, how are you going to all of these shows and I couldn't get tickets? And then trying to think, the third, because probably if I'd go Britpop, and it'd probably be Pulp, like with like a 90s Britpop band. Yeah. That are very, 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 very cool.
You should have picked a British few. You should have picked like BB Mac. Weren't they British?
I think one of them, like, oh no, I'm thinking more. What was it? What were they called? There was a band that had like a Norwegian guy. And I want to say BB Mac might have had a Norwegian guy. No, one of the guys from BB Mac was American as well. I think they had one. A lot of British boy bands in the 90s had like the token international guy. There was one, like, it'd be like 4 British guys, then one from America, or like, I can't remember the name of them. A1. That was it. A1.
Oh, yeah, I remember A1.
Yeah, A1 were like, they were all British, and I think one guy was like Norwegian. Like Ben from A1 like wrote like some of the best pop songs of the last 20 years. It's a little fun fact.
I'm so happy you said Bewitched though, because like a lot of people here don't really know who they are, like what they do, but they like don't. And I'll be like, oh my god, and I'll put on like C'est La Vie, and people have no idea who the hell they are, and it makes me really sad. So I'm like super happy that you love them so much.
That's what I said. When you come to the UK, we'll go for now to just listen to Bewitched all the time. It's perfect.
It's amazing.
I genuinely, what was it? There was another little point. I genuinely can't remember what it was. Oh, no, that was it. One of the best things about wrestling, I always have to say this. If you ever come over to the UK, Fight Club Pro, best thing ever. Every show, no matter what it is, when they go, thanks for coming, and the lights go down, they play I Want It That Way, and all like 900 people just sing at the top of their...
I've seen videos of that, actually. That's incredible.
I imagine, is the video of the Rascals singing it? Because I'm pretty sure it was them at the last, like, one of the big shows they were at. It was them 3 just going for it at the merch.
Honestly, that sounds like a very Rascal thing to do. So I'm not surprised.
We could sit here and talk for hours, for all fairness. But we'll wrap this up for now. Like, finally, before they kind of do their social media stuff, what is like the one thing that you'd want to tell anyone who's listening to this, if this is like the first time they've heard of Kasey Catal, what do you want to tell them?
Oh, I've never gotten that before. Shit, that's real deep. Honestly, just if you love wrestling, like, you don't even have to love me, but if you just love wrestling, show your support to those people that you love. Don't take it too seriously. There's like so much fun in wrestling. I feel like a lot of people now are just kind of they're taking it too seriously. Like, this is for entertainment. This is for all of you. Like, we want to have a fucking amazing time with you guys. We want to entertain you. So just have fun. It's not this whole big serious end of the world type of thing, and support the people that you love, and just have fun with it. And if you want to support me, fucking awesome, because I love my fans. And if I ever see any of you and you want to take a picture, stop me and take a picture, because I get too many messages like, oh, I thought you were going to be mean. No, I'm not really mean. I'm a nice human being. Come take a picture with me. And yeah, that's really it.
Awesome. We follow the same mantra. I got told this by randomly Matthew from Botchamania. I always follow this with wrestling, which is enjoy it when it's good and laugh at it when it's shit. Like, there's no point taking it so seriously when something's not that you don't like. Just it's wrestling. It's not that deep. Like, it's fun. If it's great, it's great. If it's bad, then you can always have a giggle at it. How can people get in touch with you? What's your social media, Kasey?
Oh my God, I just changed my handle. So I think I'm under Kasey Lynn Kirk now on Twitter. Kasey with a K. I love when people tag me and shit and they spell my name wrong. It's like, my name's right there. And then I think I'm Kasey Kirk _ on Instagram. I don't know. If you follow the CZW page, just click on me. I never use Facebook. I will post on it, but I have too many friend requests, and that's not because I'm like hot shit. It's because I've let them build up and I don't check it. So don't add me on Facebook, because I probably won't see it or care. So the other two are good.
Yeah. Does anyone really use Facebook? Like, does anyone use Facebook that isn't a mum over the age of about like 40 anymore? In all fairness, I joke, half the group chat CWM are on Facebook because they're too lazy to move it anywhere else. So that's literally the only thing I use it for.
Facebook, if I like want to like my family to see stuff, or like if I want my ex to stalk me and see like how great I'm doing.
Oh, really? You are the best. I absolutely adore you. You're so funny. Thank you again, Kasey, for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure. I hope everyone else enjoyed it. This has been TWM Talks. I've been Matty Deller. Follow us at TWM Wrestle on all the social medias, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, you know, all that good stuff. Follow us on wherever you listen to your podcasts, just TWM Pods. Leave us a rating and review. We really appreciate it. This has been TWM Talks. Thanks for listening.